The day they arrived was quiet. No rumble of ships, no burning trails across the sky. Just silence, like the earth itself paused to listen. People didn't even notice it at first, except for a few. Among them was Rena, a young woman who worked at a greenhouse near the forest's edge. She loved quiet things, plants, rain, and soft songs. That morning, while watering her rows of strawberries, she felt a pull, like someone gently tugged at her thoughts. Miles away, in a coastal town where the sea kissed stone cliffs, Tovin was helping his grandmother fix an old wind chime. The breeze stopped for a moment, and the ocean shimmered like glass. Tovin looked up. Something in the air changed, a rhythm that didn't belong, not sound, more like a feeling inside his chest. That night, the stars blinked in colors no human had ever named. Rena had a dream. A shape stood at the edge of her bed, tall and glowing like moonlight wrapped in skin. Its voice never moved through the air, yet she understood every word. You have been chosen, not for fear, not for war, for love. She woke up with tears in her eyes and a strange warmth on her wrist, a mark that glowed like pale fire. Tovin had the same dream, the same words, the same mark. Across the world, only 2 humans had been chosen. The next day, they were gone. No one saw them leave, no witnesses, no trace. It was as if they stepped out of time. Rena blinked and found herself in a place that felt like a memory, not hers but someone's. A long field of silver flowers bent in a wind she couldn't feel. Above, 2 moons crossed the sky like lovers holding hands. She stood barefoot in soft earth, and before her was a figure waiting. She was beautiful, at least Rena thought she was a she. Her skin shimmered with a lavender hue, her hair like flowing night. Her eyes weren't human, but they carried kindness. You are Rena, the alien said. Her voice was layered, like 2 people speaking at once. I am Veli. I have waited for you. Rena opened her mouth, unsure what to say. Why me? Veli stepped closer. Because your heart blooms in silence, and our people are dying. Tovin arrived in a different place. A glass chamber floating above a glowing lake. The air was cool and sweet. A tall figure waited for him too, sleek, silver-toned, eyes glowing with ember light. I am Zirian, the alien spoke. You feel it, don't you? The connection between us. Tovin felt it, like someone had stitched their souls together with invisible thread. What are you? He asked. Zirian offered a hand, not touching, just offering. We are Eliari, and we are alone, but we don't want to be. Later, both humans were brought together in a wide dome lit by starlight. Rena and Tovin stared at each other, realizing they weren't alone in this strange journey. Veli and Zirian stood beside them. We came not to take, Veli said gently, but to give, to share. Our time is ending. Our hearts are ready. But we cannot begin the next chapter without you. Tovin took Rena's hand. We're just people. What can we do? Zirian stepped forward. More than you know. You are hope. You are the spark we cannot create ourselves. Rena's voice was soft but steady. Then teach us. That night, the dome was filled with light. Not from stars or machines, but from the glow of 4 hearts learning how to beat together. It was only the beginning. Rena woke to the sound of soft humming. Not music, but something living, like the world around her was breathing. She lay on a bed made of woven silver vines, wrapped in something that felt like sunlight and feathers. Violet sat nearby, watching, with gentle eyes, her expression calm, but curious. Did you sleep well? Veli asked, her voice like distant chimes. I think so, Rena said, sitting up slowly. This place, it's alive, isn't it? Veli nodded. The soil here sings. The air listens. Our world is bonded to emotion, to connection. And now, it welcomes you. Rena looked out a nearby archway. The field of silver flowers from before stretched on endlessly, glowing under soft twin moons. Everything was beautiful, but also strange. Why love? She asked suddenly. Why? Not science or strength or power. Veli rose and walked to her, kneeling to meet Rena's eyes. Because we have all those things, but they mean nothing without feeling. Our kind once loved deeply, but something changed over time. We grew, wiser, colder. We lost the fire that binds two souls, that binds generations. Rena touched her chest, where she still felt the warmth of the glowing mark. And you think humans still have it? Veli's fingers brushed hers gently. When I look at you, I see it. You feel, even in silence. You care without asking. Why? That's what we need. Far away, in a floating chamber wrapped in soft light, Toven was exploring with Zirian. The alien moved with quiet grace, showing him glowing paths, pools of memories, and trees that whispered dreams. You don't have families? Toven asked, staring at one tree that pulsed with images, children laughing, holding hands with beings who looked like both human and Eliari. We used to, Zirian said. But birth stopped. Bonds weakened. We became distant even from each other. No spark, no closeness. Even when we paired, it was cold. Toven looked up at him. So, you're asking us to fall in love? To be breeders? Zirian flinched. No, never just that. We're not forcing anything. We are asking for something deeper. For the human warmth we cannot create ourselves. And if you feel nothing, then we let you go. Freely. Toven stepped closer. But you already feel something. Don't you? Zirian didn't answer, but the glow of his eyes dimmed softly, like a blush in alien form. Later that day, Rena and Toven were reunited, standing together beneath a tree that shimmered with memory light. You okay? Toven asked her. Rena nodded. It's overwhelming, but they don't seem cruel, just desperate. They're not even asking us to give them anything, Toven said. Just to feel, just to be with them. A soft wind passed between them, and both aliens appeared, Vili in her flowing twilight skin, and Zirian in his radiant form. Vili reached for Rena's hand, while Zirian approached Toven, but didn't touch him, only watched. We would. Like to show you what it means to bond in our way, Vili said softly. Rena glanced at Toven, then looked back at the alien woman. What does that involve? Trust, time, and sharing our essence, Vili said. They followed the Eliari into a chamber made of crystal and air. Light danced like fireflies, soft music blooming from the walls themselves. In the center, a glowing pool shimmered with energy. Step. In, Zirian said. This pool reads your heart, not your body, not your mind, just what your soul wishes. Rena hesitated, then placed her foot in the water. It was warm, inviting. She stepped deeper until the light embraced her. Toven followed, standing across from her. The moment both were inside, the pool glowed brighter. Images rose between them, memories. Rena as a child, singing to flowers. Toven laughing in a storm, chasing waves. Then, newer visions. Of them. Of the two aliens watching with quiet hope. Of a future that hadn't yet happened. They stepped out, both breathing hard, both shaken. That wasn't just showing us ourselves, Toven whispered. That was everything. Our possibilities. Veli nodded. Now you understand. This is not about taking. This is about becoming. Rena's voice trembled. Then what happens next? Zirian's gaze softened. Only what your hearts are ready for. The sky above the dome shifted to twilight, stars beginning to shine again. But something had already changed. Two humans had begun to feel the weight and beauty of being chosen not for war or worship, but for something far more tender love. The days that followed felt like living inside a dream that breathed with them. Rena and Tovin were given their own space within the Eliari sanctuary, rooms that responded to their feelings, walls that shifted to let in moonlight or soften, to soothe them. It wasn't a prison. There were no locks, no guards, just warmth and endless quiet invitations. Rena spent most mornings walking with Vaeli through the silver fields. The alien woman showed her plants that glowed when touched, flowers that opened only for laughter, and vines that twined gently around the wrist when someone felt lonely. "It's like this whole place wants to love," Rena whispered once, kneeling beside a blooming orb of blue petals. Vaeli crouched beside her. "It does. But it only mirrors what's already inside. Without you, it stays asleep." Rena looked at her, really looked. There was grace in Vaeli's movement, yes, but also vulnerability. Her long fingers trembled slightly when she touched Rena's hand. Her voice softened only when she spoke to her. "Have you ever been in love?" Rena asked suddenly. Vaeli blinked slowly, her glowing eyes clouding with something old and quiet. "Once. A very long time ago. But it faded. We forgot how to keep love warm. It became a memory we tell through light instead of holding close." Rena touched the spot over her heart. "I don't want to become a memory." Vaeli leaned forward, just close enough that Rena felt the warmth of her breath, cool and sweet like flower-scented air. "Then don't. Let's make something real." Meanwhile, Tovin explored deeper into the Eliari archives with Zirian. It wasn't a library of books, it was alive. Voices lived in crystal, and each glowing shape sang history. Not with words, but feelings. Tovin listened to love stories, births, unions of light and starlight, and then he heard silence. A long stretch of sadness, where nothing new was born, where lovers stood together, but their hearts remained apart. "We watched ourselves forget," Zirian said, watching a glowing memory fade into stillness. "We built ships and cities, but our beds stayed cold, our arms empty." Tovin glanced at him. "And now you want to remember? Through us?" "No," Zirian said. "With you." There was something in the way he said it that made Tovin's heart skip. Zirian wasn't pretending to be strong. He was reaching, openly, hopefully. It was rare to see something so raw in someone so powerful. Later, as dusk fell across the Eliari sky, the four of them met again beneath the memory tree. Its glowing roots pulsed with soft rhythm, like a heartbeat. Rena sat beside Vaeli, her fingers brushing the alien woman's. Tovin stood near Zirian, who said nothing but watched him closely. "You said this place responds to emotions," Tovin said. "What happens if we're confused?" "Then it becomes uncertain," Zirian replied. "But it never forces clarity. It waits with you." Rena turned to Tovin. "Do you feel something too? Or is it just me?" Tovin looked at her, then at Zirian. "I do. It's not loud, but it's real." Vaeli took Rena's hand and placed it over her chest. Beneath the shimmering skin, a pulse beat softly, 2 rhythms instead of 1. "This is how we feel," she whispered, "when we're near someone we care for." Rena did the same, guiding Vaeli's hand to her own chest. Her heart was racing. "I don't know where this goes," Rena whispered. "Neither do I," Vaeli said. "But I want to walk it with you." Then, for the first time, Rena leaned in and pressed her lips gently to Vaeli's. The kiss was soft, hesitant, but real. The tree behind them bloomed suddenly, flowers bursting open all at once, light rising like a sunrise in fast motion. On the other side, Zirian reached for Tovin's hand. He didn't pull, didn't ask. He simply offered. Tovin looked down at their joined hands, fingers different in shape but matched in warmth. "It's strange," he murmured, "but it feels right." Zirian stepped closer, pressing his forehead gently to Tovin's. "You are not here to be used," he said. "You are here to be loved, if you choose it." Tovin nodded. "Then I choose." The light around them pulsed again, gentle and steady. The Elayari sanctuary sang a low, wordless melody, welcoming what had long been missing. It wasn't about saving a species anymore. It was about learning how to love, truly, deeply, with no walls between. The sanctuary had changed. Where once the air had been still with waiting, now it shimmered softly with something new. The Elayari moved differently now, lighter in their steps, quicker to smile, their skin glowing brighter when they passed Rena and Tovin. Even the trees swayed more gently, as if listening to quiet music between hearts. Rena stood before a tall mirror formed from crystal wind, brushing her hair with fingers slightly trembling. Viley appeared behind her, silent but smiling. "I'm not used to someone watching me like that," Rena said softly. Viley stepped closer, her reflection calm and radiant. "I'm not watching, I'm memorizing." Rena turned, heart fluttering. "Why me?" "Because," Viley whispered, placing a warm hand over Rena's. "You smile like sunrise. You speak like water. And when you look at me, I feel real again." Rena laughed quietly. "You're good at this." "I'm only honest," Viley said, brushing a strand of hair behind Rena's ear with slow care. "We don't say what we don't mean." Rena leaned into the touch, her voice barely a breath. "Then don't stop." At the same time, elsewhere in the sanctuary, Tovin sat beside Zirian near a pool of light. The water reflected stars, even though it was day outside. Zirian passed Tovin a small fruit, round and glowing. "What is this?" Tovin asked, eyeing it warily. "It only grows when someone cares," Zirian said. "When two feelings meet in truth." Tovin held it for a moment, then took a slow bite. Sweet, but not sugary. Cool, like it held a breeze inside. "This is what you eat to show love?" Zirian nodded. "When we used to bond, we shared these." It was a promise. Not to stay forever, but to be true, while it lasted. Tovin looked into the pool, seeing his own face beside Zirian's. "I've never promised anything like that." "Nor have I," Zirian said, "but I want to try. With you." Silence passed, but it was the warm kind, the kind filled with unspoken yes. Later the four stood together once more, called by a new presence deep in the sanctuary. They were led to a vast chamber they'd never seen before, its walls alive with vines that pulsed like veins. At the center, a crystal flower bloomed, larger than a person, slowly unfolding. "What is this place?" Rena asked, holding Viley's hand tightly. "It's the chamber of beginning," Viley said softly, "where new generations are conceived, not through science, but through shared truth." Tovin stepped forward, feeling the pull of the chamber, like a heartbeat in his chest. "You're saying this is where it happens?" Zirian approached him, placing a gentle hand over his heart. "Only if your bond is real. Only if love guides it." Rena looked to Tovin. "Are we ready for this?" Tovin nodded slowly. "Maybe not in the way we thought, but yeah, I think we are." The crystal flower opened fully, revealing two smaller chambers, each glowing softly, like waiting arms. Viley and Zirian looked at each other, then turned to their chosen humans. "You do not have to do anything," Viley said gently. "But If you step inside with us, you become part of us, forever. Rena swallowed. Her voice was steady, but her heart beat like thunder. I'm not afraid. Tovin smirked, a light in his eyes. Let's make some space history. They stepped forward, Rena with Veli, Tovin with Zirian, and entered the glowing chambers. Inside there were no machines, no tests, just warmth. A quiet hum of shared breath, of hearts sinking. The air shimmered with memory and desire, with unspoken promises. Veli kissed Rena slowly, like rain touching dry earth. Rena kissed back, arms around her, skin tingling from every contact. The connection wasn't just physical, it was soul deep. Their bodies moved like echoes of emotion, responding to each other with tenderness and hunger alike. In the next chamber, Zirian pressed his forehead to Tovin's. May I? He whispered. Tovin didn't answer with words. He cupped Zirian's face, pulled him close, and kissed him, fiercely, honestly. Their bodies met in trust, moving together in rhythm born of pure feeling. It wasn't about reproduction. It was about union, about sharing something neither had known how to describe until now. Outside, the vines pulsed brighter. The chamber sang with soft harmony. The sanctuary glowed as if stars had bloomed inside its walls. 2 humans, 2 aliens, and the start of something sacred. Not an experiment, not a duty, but the beginning of a new kind of love, a new generation, born not only from need but from the courage to connect. When the chamber doors finally opened, the air felt different, softer, warmer, as if it had wrapped itself around the 4 of them in a silent embrace. Light flowed like water across the floor, chasing shadows away. The sanctuary had shifted, again. Rena stepped out first, her hand still laced with Veli's. Her hair shimmered faintly, her skin glowing in a way it hadn't before. She wasn't just human anymore. She was something more, touched, changed by love that ran deeper than blood. Tovin followed, his arm around Zirian's waist. There was calm in his eyes now, a steady confidence that hadn't been there when he'd first arrived. His smile was quiet, but full, like he'd finally come home after wandering through lifetimes of emptiness. Waiting outside were dozens of Eliari, standing in reverent silence. Their eyes shone not with authority, but with awe. You have begun what we forgot, said one elder, stepping forward. You reminded us how to feel, not just exist. Veli bowed her head. They gave us more than answers. They gave us truth. A quiet murmur moved through the crowd as Rena and Tovin were led to a circular platform in the heart of the sanctuary. Vines climbed around it, blooming with golden blossoms. The memory tree in the distance pulsed in sync, as though listening. From the center of the platform, a soft hum rose. Light gathered around Rena's belly and Tovin's chest, forming slow-moving patterns of life. Not just potential, but something already growing, already becoming. Rena placed a hand on her stomach, gasping softly. Is this? Veli nodded, her voice trembling with joy. Yes, a life, one formed from both of us. Tovin looked at Zirian, stunned. But we didn't. How? Zirian smiled, touching Tovin's chest gently. Your love awakened our ancient gift. When 2 hearts align without fear, we shape life through unity, not biology alone. Tears welled in Tovin's eyes. I didn't expect this. Neither did we, Zirian said, but now we cherish it. The Eliari cheered, not with loud cries, but with harmonized sound that echoed like wind through glass. They sang with their light, their hearts, their hope. It wasn't celebration of science. It was a hymn for something sacred. The return of love. In the days that followed, Rena and Tovin were no longer just guests. They were honored as guides. The Eliari asked them not to teach, but to live, to keep walking, loving, growing with their partners. And in doing so, the aliens would remember. Rena and Veli built a home in the blossom fields, where laughter returned to the soil, and children would one day run with feet both human and Eliari. Tovin and Zirian crafted a space near the crystal pools, where memory and future melted together, and the stars overhead shimmered in approval. They weren't symbols. They weren't saviors. They were just people who dared to love someone different, and found that love, real love, was stronger than stars, bloodlines, or galaxies. One night, as the sky burned violet and soft music drifted from glowing plants, Rena curled against Vili, fingers tracing the smooth skin of her partner's arm. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if we said no?" she whispered. Vili smiled and pressed a kiss to her temple. "Then this moment wouldn't exist, and I would still be alone, dreaming of something I never believed could be real." Tovin, lying nearby with Zirian beneath the starlight, chuckled softly. "We didn't save a species. We just fell in love." Zirian looked at him, eyes glowing, like twin moons. "And in doing so, you saved so much more." Above them, the stars shifted. A new constellation formed, one the Eliari named not after gods or warriors, but after hope. A human hand, an alien hand, reaching toward each other, touching, together, forever.